Boom, 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 boom. Good morning. Hello, welcome to yet one more episode of Red Stone Lapis Lazuli. It is I, your host, pogokero. Yes, hello, good morning. I'm back here again. Yes, one more week. Yeah, what's up? Okay, hey, get back to stream health here. Check it. Check it. Microphone check 1 2. What is this? This is a map. Um I went ahead and I did the rest of the map here. I the last time I had done this quadrant right here, and I went ahead and filled out the rest of the quadrants. And you can see I'm in the middle of a very large ocean, and that this island here was just a tiny little island in a bigger ocean. And then I have a mushroom island right over there, and I have a sand island right over there. And then I have a whole bunch of mountains right here. So that's cool. That's a giant mountain range. And then I have another mountain right there and right here. So I was thinking, like, how can I even do this? And I was thinking, and like, yeah, right there's my gold farm, and over here is my what's that? The Guardian farm. So I'm thinking, how can I like use this great map to like build something? And I thought, look at this, like the closest major landmass is this big island, and then I can go from this island. I could like bridge the channel and get to the main island, the main continent. So I go to this island, bridge the channel to the rest of the continent, and then yeah. Or maybe I won't even do that. Maybe I'll just fly over to like these different places. Like there's a mountain there, there's a mountain there. Like I kind of want to make a mountain base now. So the other sad thing that, well, not the sad thing, but yeah, the kind of sad, it makes me sad, is that the news came out that the update, the caves and cliff update was going to be pushed back to the end of 2021. And while this makes me sad, I recognize very clearly that there are major issues with Java that aren't present in Bedrock, because Bedrock is built from the ground up in C++, I think, like, which is a more efficient language for Windows to use. Like Java is great because you can run it on any hardware. But it's not optimized for any hardware. It'll run on any hardware, but it's not optimized. So it takes a lot of computing power to make Minecraft work in Java, which is why we have, here, let me sleep, which is why there are these issues with chunks not loading in time, or flying into invisible walls, or not being able to see where you're going, because the Java code can't be executed quickly enough by the processor. So the difference is, okay, you have, here, let me go underground real quick. The difference is, okay, so you have Java and Bedrock. Java will work on lots of processors. It'll work on a Mac. It'll work on an Android. It'll work on a PC. It'll work on like anything, a Raspberry Pi. It will work on Java. Work on anything. But the problem is, to get Java to work on anything, this is the instruction book is like this long. The instruction book is huge. So sure, you can write code in Java sure, you can write code in Java, but to do anything, the processor has to read a bunch of instructions in order to figure out what to do, because the instructions have to be universal enough for any machine to be able to read it. So it takes a lot of computing processing to read this huge stack of instructions over and over and over again. Whereas for that's Java. For Bedrock, the instructions are like that. You don't have to talk to all these other machines, right? Bedrock Minecraft is only made for Windows 10. That's it. So the instruction book to run the program is really, really short. It's super easy. It's not that huge list. It's tiny. So the processor, in order to run Minecraft, is going to zoop, 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 zoop. Real easy for the processor. So when you play Minecraft in Java or in Bedrock, it's easy to fly around and not run into chunks and stuff because the code is optimized for Windows 10. But when it comes to Java, it has to be universal, and the instruction book is big. So there are a lot of issues. And that's why, and I can see it, right? I can see it. I go to the end. I can't find elytras because I can't see where I'm going. Making that map, I had major problems running into invisible walls or not being able to see where I'm going because the world just doesn't load fast enough. You know, it's not the fault of my machine. It's not the fault of the programmers. It's the fact that Java is just a slow, bloated language because it has to be universal. So the challenges for the Minecraft development team is to find a way to make Java run real fast. And I don't know how they can do that. I mean, you'd have to optimize for every single machine, and that would take forever. I mean, it might be helpful if every machine downloaded a certain like Java optimization kit for themselves. And that way, you know, so if you're running Java on a PC, then you download the Java PC kit. And if you're running Java on a Mac, then you download the Java Mac kit. If you're running Java on a Android, you download the Java Android kit. And then that way you don't have to run so many optimizations on the code itself. So for Minecraft, you can write just Minecraft and have the work done by the machines for the optimizations, if you know what I mean. So instead of having to write a gigantic instruction book, where'd it go? Instead of having to write a gigantic instruction book that you send that every processor has to go through each time, you write one instruction book, and every machine has their own library type thing. I think they've done that with DLLs, like dynamic linked libraries. So I'm not a programmer. I don't know. So I'm talking out of my ass right now. I'm just trying to figure out, get a grip on the problem that they have. But it's a major problem. I really like Java Minecraft. To me, it's a more fleshed out game. Everything feels more alive and solid on Java Minecraft than it does on Windows. When I play Windows Minecraft, it feels like airy. I don't know if that makes sense, but things feel solid in Java Minecraft. I don't know how to describe it. Anyways, so yeah, the team has major problems, but I do not want the team to crunch. That is like the opposite. Crunching induces stress, and it takes time away from recuperation from work. And especially when it comes to programming. There's a major element of creativity when it comes to programming, and that gets depleted. You need time to recuperate that stuff. So crunch is stupid. Or not stupid. Crunch is counterproductive. Crunch, it's meant to increase productivity, but actually I think you reduce productivity with crunch. And if you have to crunch, it means you didn't schedule your time ahead of, you didn't plan it well enough ahead of time. And that comes from upper management again. Like, never crunch your programmers. That's crazy. That's wild. Why would, like, it's like saying I'm gonna crunch my brain. No, dude, that's really delicate stuff. You don't crunch your brain. You encase it in a shell to protect it. Yeah. So I am totally okay with this update taking longer. I'm fine. I'm fine with it because I recognize the massive challenge that they have. I mean, what 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 Bedrock had to do was rewrite Minecraft into C++ and rewrite it and optimize it, which is why I think Bedrock Minecraft doesn't feel as polished as Java Minecraft. Maybe I haven't played Bedrock in a while, so maybe. Um, but that's because they had to go back and rewrite the whole thing. Maybe Java has to do the same thing, right? Like, as it was, Java's already struggling with world generation with the smaller world. Like, if it tries to expand the world without fixing this problem, it'll be unplayable. I mean, it almost already is unplayable. Um, they almost need to rewrite the whole the whole thing. And that means, again, I don't want to crunch. I refuse to crunch. Uh, so that means Microsoft and Mojang need to dedicate more resources to hiring more programmers and making more teams. They basically need to expand the team. They need to make the team bigger. They're not giving the team enough resources, and they're demanding too much of the team. Like, especially with these side projects like Minecraft Earth. Like, what was that? This is your game. This is it, dude. This is it. If you want to spin off franchises, that's fine. Like, it's happening with your Minecraft dungeons. And if you want to, I think you can make a Minecraft MMO because you're already halfway there. And I think that's what Hypixel is. Like, all you got to do is hire writers to make a lore, and then like you use Minecraft to make an MMO. Boom, easy. So like you have, but what you need are what the team needs are resources. Resources. Like, you need resources, and you don't squeeze it to get the resources out. You add to it. Well, who's that? There's that famous designer that says, like, a designer knows his work is completed not when there's nothing more to add, but when there's nothing more to take away. Well, we are not at that point yet to take away. We are still at the adding phase. And I think the Minecraft team needs to be expanded. I think for sure they need to be expanded. Especially if they need to rewrite the Minecraft code from the bottom up. That's gonna be awful. Yeah. The way that the company is looking at it is totally backwards. You cannot squeeze your programmers. And you can't squeeze your creativity. That's insane. That's counterproductive. What you do is you protect it and then you give more resources. If what you want isn't happening, you don't ask the people to do more. What you do is you just add another room and say, all right, this is what your job is, and you put in people there for that job. Okay, well, that's enough pontificating about Minecraft. I love Minecraft. I love this game. I mean, like, look at me, right? And why? Because I can bring my story into Minecraft. There isn't one here yet. It's an empty canvas. It's a canvas. "10,000 years in the future, England has become a Mesa Desert." Oh no! Oh yeah. All right. My microphone is on. Good, good, good. And then over here across the channel is the continent of like, what happened to France? See, these are chunks I've already loaded, so it's okay. Oh, look, a cave. Oh, that's awesome. A spider spawner on the surface. Yo, that's awesome. That's great. I only have 3 torches. Oh, look at that. Is that another spider spawner? 2 spider spawners on the surface? Ooh, that'd be cool. Poison. Don't. I'm poisoned. All right, here. I want to get these shears real quick because I'm gonna collect some spiders webs. Yeah, look at all these spiders. 2 spider spawners on the surface, right next to each other. That's great. I gotta like leave a marker here so I can remember this place. Spider spawners on the surface. Ooh yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna die. I should get out of here. Hold on a second. That poison was rough, huh? Yeah, I don't want to die out here. I don't even know where I am. Yeah, it's dangerous at night. Look at this place. All right, what do I got? I got cobblestone here. Two spider spawners on the surface. Ooh yeah. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Oh, oh. Ah, poison. Poison. Shot. Poison. Zombies. At least no creepers, huh? Alright, well, I got my spider webs. Look at this place. Alright, here. Ah! Yo, I'm gonna get out of here and, like, not die. Oh, wait, I wanted to mark it. All right. Okay, there. I marked it to come back later. It's the middle of the night. Um, yeah, that's like a mine shaft on the surface. It's kind of neat. I should make a base here just to like hang out. Well, I mean, yeah, I wonder if I can get both of these spider spawners, find a spot in the middle where they both spawn spiders at the same time. That way I could like harvest from both of them. But like, why? I don't know, just to do it. All right, well, here, let's get out of here. I want to talk about some stuff going on in the world too. Like, yeah, Minecraft is great and all, but you gotta unplug sometime. So yeah, I might as well build stuff because like it's gonna be a year until I can like until there's a an update. Ow! Ugh. I'm so not a gamer. Ah, I'm a bad gamer. So spider webs. There we go. Okay. Why am I carrying all this stuff? Let me just clean up real quick. Oh my god, I've got too much crap. Why? I don't know. Why is there a bed in... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know! Don't ask me why. Sure, that's fine for now. Okay. The rain makes it hard. It's loud. Okay, let me check out my stuff here. I don't know, I just don't feel like doing this today. Like, I just, like, it's hard. I'm so tired. Tired. Alright, so... Let's start with this one. Police as terrorists. Most charges against George Floyd protesters dropped, analysis shows. The story is by Tom Perkins of The Guardian. Thank you, Tom Perkins. The vast majority of citations, and let me move me out of the way. The vast majority of citations and charges were ultimately dropped, dismissed, or otherwise not filed. Departments carried out mass arrests as a crowd control tactic. to silence peaceful protesters and as a public relations strategy to turn the public against demonstrators by making them appear more violent than they were. It sends a message that you might get arrested if you express your views and First Amendment rights. At least 90% of cases were dropped and dismissed in most of a dozen jurisdictions. In some cities like Dallas and Philadelphia, 95% of citations were dropped or not prosecuted. In Houston, 93% of citations dropped. In LA, 93% of citations not filed. In San Fran, dismissed all 127 cases. Did not file charges for nearly all low-level offenses. A majority of felony charges were also dropped. Mayors in every city except Detroit dropped all citations over which they had jurisdiction. But District Court Judge Larry Williams Jr. dismissed more than 100 cases because police refused basic evidence, such as body cam footage. Oh, oops. The mass arrests were also part of I just did this one. Yeah, also part of a public relations campaign to paint the protesters as violent agitators and undermine their messaging. What they try to do is spin it and say, look at how unlawful protesters are, as is evidenced by all of these arrests that we made. Then we hope and people forget about it and say, hey, we got to drop these charges because these people shouldn't have been arrested. So they mass arrested people for no reason, just to get them out of the way, just so they can say that they're violent when they weren't. They weren't violent at all. Police were making arrests as a form of crowd control. So in many instances, there were no criminal charges to file. They just arrested you. Not because you were doing a crime, but just to get you out of the way. What do you mean arresting me just to get me out of the way? What do you mean I didn't commit a crime, but they just took away my liberty just because I was inconveniencing them? They took away my liberty and freedom just because the state agents will take away my liberty and freedom just because it inconveniences them? Don't we have a document that expressly forbids them from doing that? My freedom is not an inconvenience. The mass arrests overwhelmed already strained criminal justice systems by forcing them to contend with processing thousands of protesters. That resulted in delayed arraignments and kept high numbers of inmates crowded in small New York jails for up to days at a time during the pandemic, Crawford said. The police response created this whole additional public health crisis that wasn't something people talked about much, but in the moment was one of the biggest issues we were concerned about. Moreover, forcing the criminal justice system to process thousands of cases based on flimsy evidence that probably would not result in prosecutions represented an enormous waste of tax dollars and time, observers said. It's not what the government should be doing. It points to excessive use of government authority. The police just wasted a bunch of government time and money to take away the freedom of people because those people were an inconvenience to the police. Not because the people were committing a crime, but because the people were an inconvenience to the police. That's exactly what it was. The people were exercising their freedom of expression, and the police, as government agents, were inconvenienced by the expression of free speech. So the people were arrested. Their freedom was taken away, not because they committed a crime, not because it was lawful. No, their freedom was taken away by the government because their freedom inconvenienced the government. The mass arrests. Oh, I just said that one. Police, as a group, have the most political power in the USA, and no one really talks about it. The ruling class empowered a private army with public money and named it the sole arbiter of legitimate, quote, quote, violence. But in doing so, ensured that there is no material check on cop power. People need to put politicians on the spot and flat out ask them if they are too scared of the cops to pass any practical legislation to limit their power and funding. If you are worried that talking about how much power cops have will make them realize it and become worse, consider how they kill with impunity and steal more from citizens through civil forfeiture than burglaries. I'd say they already know. So the government, via the police, took away the freedom of a whole bunch of its citizens because their freedom inconvenienced the government. Not because they were breaking a law, but because their freedom was inconveniencing a government. Their freedom of speech was something that was not enjoyed by the government, so the government curtailed their freedom of speech. In opposition, in direct violation of Amendment 1 of the Constitution, the government curtailed the freedom of speech of the people without just cause. Unlawfully. The people were not breaking the law. That's their freedom. But the government curtailed it because it was inconvenienced. I have a whole bunch of stuff here. It's just going to be nuts. His name was Robert Douglas Delgado. He was murdered by the police in Portland the other day. He was having a mental health crisis. And the mental health team came out to help him, but the mental health team is understaffed and under-resourced. So they didn't have enough time and resources to help him. So then the police came out and just murdered him. Delgado was a familiar face in and around Lents Park. Jennifer Foley, who had lived in Lents neighborhood for decades, said that Delgado was homeless at the time of his death. Foley, who knew Delgado as Robert, would regularly offer Delgado meals, showers, and a couch to sleep on over the course of the past 6 years. She said he had been beat up and robbed while living outside multiple times. He was nice and funny and caring and always tried to make someone laugh, said Foley. She said she believed Delgado had some kind of untreated mental illness, one that made him especially paranoid of the police and government institutions. Yeah, dude, that's called schizophrenia. Like, that's a real thing. He always thought the cops were after him, Fahey told the Mercury Saturday afternoon on a phone call. I guess he was right in some way. Fahey arrived at the crime scene Friday morning in a panic after hearing about the shooting. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling it's him, said Fahey, who spoke to the Mercury at the scene. I saw him just a few days ago, and he seemed upset. I was worried about him. The Portland Police Bureau said that Delgado was carrying a gun when he was killed. Fahey said she never saw him with a gun and can't imagine where he could have obtained one since he had no money or identification. How's he going to get a gun if he's homeless and got no ID? How are you going to get a gun? Like, remember, police lie all the time, right? We just saw this cover-up up in Washington when they killed Michael Reynolds, right? Now they killed Robert Delgado, and they lied here too. Right? They're lying here too. They're saying he had a gun. He didn't have a gun. You just murdered him. Here, check it out. Baltimore police gun traces task force corruption trial. A federal jury has convicted two Baltimore police detectives, Daniel Herschel and Marcus Taylor, for their roles in one of the biggest police corruption scandals in recent memory. The verdict capped a week-long trial that featured bombshell testimony from the role reversal of drug dealers testifying against police officers to a convicted officer saying he stole money with slain detective Sean Suter. But here, this is what the deal is. Ward said that officers used illegal GPS trackers to follow the movements of some targets. Jenkins would ask suspected drug dealers, if you could put together a crew of guys and rob the biggest drug dealer in town, who would it be? The officers would use the answers to determine who would to target. Ward said the officers kept BB guns in their vehicles in case we accidentally hit somebody or got into a shootout so we could plant them. Right? Like, how easy is it for the police to just plant stuff and say, oh, yeah, this one bullet casing in the back of Michael Reynolds' car tells me that he shot a bullet. Even though his gun was in his pocket, and even though he had a full magazine, oh, this casing happened to be in his back seat. That means I was okay to murder him. Oh, Robert Delgado happened to have a gun. Oh, look, this BB gun happened to be there. I don't know where it came from. He's homeless. He's got no money. He's got no ID. But he happened to have a BB gun that justified me murdering him. Oh, geez, where'd that come from? The police and Breonna Taylor, when they murdered Breonna Taylor, they tried to get the boyfriend to lie and say that Breonna Taylor, like, justified the murder. Like, police lie all the time. Police are liars. They're liars. They're professional liars. They're really good at lying. They're trained to lie. They're excellent liars. They manipulate people. They're manipulators. I watched it, right? So the other night, like Monday, I was out at the Capitol writing chalk on the sidewalk and there was a bunch of other kids out there doing the same thing. And a state trooper, drove by real slow with the lights on. And he was harassing the kids. And the kids, they don't know any better, right? They get trolled easy. The troopers can easily troll the kids because they don't know any better. So the kids go and start yelling at the troopers, right? Quit your job, rah, rah. And the troopers love it. They love it, right? They're eating up that energy. They love the tears. They love eating up the tears of the kids that they're teasing, right? And they roll by me and they try to bait me. And I don't say a thing. I turn my back. I won't look at them. I won't do nothing, right? Because they know better. If you mess with me, I'm gonna give it to you. But yeah, the police know how to mess with people. The police knew that they were trolling the kids. They knew how to mess with the kids. They were doing it on purpose. Police know how to manipulate people. Police manipulated that 8-year-old up in Washington in order to say that, oh yeah, he had a big two-handed gun. Oh yeah. Police are liars. So it makes sense that police said he had a gun, that's why I shot him. Because the police plant them all the time. The police lie and plant them all the time. The police, when they killed that kid, that 13-year-old kid, I don't know his name, they lied and said he had a gun. And when the video came out and showed he didn't have a gun, then they're like, oh, he didn't have a gun. Oh. Police lie. They lie all the time. You cannot trust police. So the answer, of course, is to, well, you got to think, why? Why are the police like this? What's going on? People keep saying this stuff like defund the police. But what are they talking about when they say defund the police? Why would these people say defund the police? What's the whole point? Well, here, let's look at military spending, right? We know already, you already know the United States is the world leader in spending money on the military. We spend the most money, our government spends the most money on the military than a whole bunch of other countries combined. We spend tons of money on the military. But there's another thing you didn't know about, right? The number 2 country that spends the most money on the military is China. Who's the number 3 country that spends the most money on their military? You want to know who it is? It's the U.S. police. Policeland is the 3rd largest spender on military. U.S. policeland. The policeland in the military. The police military are the 3rd largest in the world for spending money on the military. So U.S. spends the most money on its military, right? That's what, 731 billion or billion dollars, right? $731 billion. Then it's China, $261 billion. Then it's the U.S. police with $118 billion. And then you start getting all the other people, India, Russia, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, UK, all these other guns, right? The U.S. police is the 3rd largest military spending. And what does that get? What does that do? When you have the 3rd largest military spending in the world, what do you get? What does that get you? Oh, the most police killings in the world. Yes! Yes! Oh, by buying all this military equipment, USA police killed the most Americans ever. Yes! Yes, police, you did it. You did it, police. You killed the most Americans. With all that military hardware, the military police killed the most Americans ever. The militarized police. So all that spending, all that money is paying off in dead Americans. That's amazing. Here, let's look at the budget in LA, right? There's the money you spend on emergency management. There's the money you spend on the cultural affairs. There's the money you spend on rec and parks. There's the money you spend on transportation, housing and investment in community. And then LAPD, $3 billion, way more than all these other ones. What if you cut this in half and put all that money back over here into this stuff? What would that do? It would mean you probably wouldn't need even half this much money for the police anymore. Because you build stability not from a police, but from a strong community. You build stability by building a strong community, not by having a police force externally forcing order. When your order comes from external powers, it's not really order. It's enslavement. Your order has to come from internally. And the way you generate internal order is by providing resources. But it's not just LA, right? Look at in Boston. Here's the $354 million for non-overtime budget. Then you have your overtime budget of $48 million, and then you have your projected overtime excess of the overtime budget of $20 million. So you take just the excess overtime budget and you show that against all the other stuff that Boston spends its money on, right? Just the overtime excess. There's your veterans engagement, your neighborhood services, your environment, health and human services, arts and culture, immigration, persons with disabilities, human rights, women's advancements, fair housing and equity. All of that fits into the excess of overtime paid to the police beyond their normal police budget and beyond their normal overtime budget. Imagine if you would spend half the police budget on all these other agencies. If you spent half the police budget on fair housing and there was no more homeless, and you spent half the police budget on health and human services, so there's no more homeless people anymore, all of a sudden you know where they live. So now you can send healthcare professionals directly to their house, where they live, or their apartment, directly, and provide healthcare directly to them. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to go to appointments. They don't have to find transportation. They don't have to remember the schedule. They don't have to navigate transportation. They don't have to do anything. Stay home. Healthcare professionals will come to you and make sure you are well, and we will take care of you and stabilize you so that you can enter and rejoin society and be healthy and happy with the rest of us. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's justice being manifested. That's humanity being manifested. That's our power being manifested. We are so strong that we are able to lift up the poorest people and make them one of us. We are strong. We can do this. Easy. Look how easy. Defund the police. Cops kill more people than mass murderers. We're really not American so much as we are people living under Anglo-American colonial rule, constantly seeking full citizenship status and protection under a constitution that originally excluded us from its protections. That sounds radical because we're supposed to believe that USA is the great melting pot of people from all over the world and we're all American. But if you really examine the dynamics absent the mythos, our status domestically is more like people living under colonial or imperialist rule. The dynamics of policing bring that reality into stark relief because it shows we don't actually have the constitutional protections afforded to white settler class. And when we protest, the full force and might of the domestic military deploys to our communities like we're Iraq. Of course, nothing I'm saying is new. Folks have been saying this a long time and showing how conditions of black, brown, and indigenous people within the U.S. borders is directly connected to U.S. imperialism in black and brown countries overseas. It's the dynamics of global white supremacy. There's a church in Brooklyn Center that was harboring people hurt by police violence during the Dante Wright protests, and this is how the cops responded. They surrounded the church to make sure that no one could go back to the church. There would be no sanctuary. The police, the military make sure that the people have no sanctuary. Right? The police are at war with the people of Minnesota, and the police are denying sanctuary to the people. This is what it looks like. When the government is at war with the people and is blocking the people from sanctuary. The state is blocking people from sanctuary. The government is blocking the people from sanctuary. Where am I at? Defund the police. Yeah. So to anyone who's not currently living in the Twin Cities metro area, we are currently under a military occupation. This is a military occupation. So Minneapolis is occupied by the military. the police are out of control. They're basically a rogue. They're basically a rogue agency. The politicians are afraid of passing laws that would weaken the police because the police will retaliate. So the police have taken over basically Minnesota. They've overthrown the government of Minnesota. And the police have taken over the government. They've overthrown the government of Minnesota. And the state troopers they can't stop the police. The state troopers are like outgunned by the police. And here's a state trooper asking for help by the people of Minnesota to rise up against the police. This is the Minnesota asking people to rise up against the military takeover of Minnesota.
I think my message tonight is that as someone who's lived in Minnesota my whole life, and I represent the state patrol that represents the whole state,
yeah,
I think I'm extremely comfortable in saying and asking, we need help. We
See?
need help from Minnesotans to stand up and say that this can't be tolerated.
See, he can't. The police are so out of control that the state trooper is asking. He's saying, "Please, people, fucking rise up against the police." The state trooper is telling the people of Minnesota to fucking rise up against the police. That's insane. That's wow. Holy shit. Like, the police cannot be trusted. The state troopers saying, "Dude, we're so weak, we can't stop the police." That's insane.
It can't be tolerated.
Yeah,
And I only say that because when I go out and I talk to people, that's what they tell me. And right now, to interrupt this cycle we're in, where every night we're out there in this fight, we need people to stand up.
Yes. God, that's right. We have to defeat the police. Somehow the police have taken over Minnesota and have, like, declared martial law. I mean, it hasn't been officially declared, but it's basically de facto martial law. Like, they take away your freedom to assemble. You don't have to break a law. They just take it away. They don't. If you're not white, well, if you're not a fascist, then they'll take away your freedoms. So, in other words, you're not really free. And the state trooper is saying that the people of Minnesota need to fight back against the police to take back their government.
And help us by saying it can't be tolerated any longer.
Yes, yes.
And
Fuck the
that's my
police.
ask, is
You're
that we
right.
get people to stand up and help us, because that's
Yes. The police keep murdering children over and over and over again. How do we stop them? The state trooper can't stop them. He's asking the people to fucking fight the police. He wants the state trooper is asking the people of Minnesota to attack the police, to defend yourself against the police.
we need in this moment. That's what the community needs. That's what the metro needs. That's what
Yeah,
the state
dude.
needs.
All right. So I think he's asking, maybe the feds need to come in to put down the police in Minnesota. If the state troopers are asking for the people to rise up against the police because the state troopers can't control the police, then I don't know. I don't know why that isn't news. That the state trooper is saying that the police are staging a coup, and that the people need to rise up against the police. Why isn't that big fat news all over the country? Oh, that's right, because half the country are white supremacists. So yeah. I just thought that was wild. That the state trooper is asking for the people of Minnesota to rise up against the police. That's incredible. A government agent is asking for the people to rise up against the government. So this morning, a Maryland state trooper shot and killed a 16-year-old boy claiming he had a knife and an airsoft gun, which shoots non-lethal pellets. So there was no body cam, and we know that police in Baltimore plant BB guns on people. So basically, the cop just murdered another kid, right? See, it still happens, right? That state trooper is right. The people need to rise up against the police because the police keep murdering our children. You got to defund the police, right? Look at this. If you defund the police, that will stop the police from killing kids. Defund the police to stop children or stop police from murdering kids. If you defund the police, you can stop them from murdering kids. The state trooper in Minnesota is asking the people of Minnesota to rise up against the police, to fight back against the police. So we know up in Portland that the police murdered Robert Delgado, right? But did you know during the investigation there was a terrorist who infiltrated the police lines? Did you know that? There's a video, there's a photograph of a terrorist who infiltrated the police. There's a picture right here. You can see right here. This guy here, right there, that's a symbol of insurrection. That guy wants to overthrow the government, and he wants to murder police. Remember, the Capitol Police insurrectionists, or the Capitol insurrectionists, murdered 2 police officers in the Capitol. So this guy's an insurrectionist, and somehow he snuck into the group of Portland Police Bureau. I don't know how he did it. They don't know it. Somehow these officers don't realize there's a cop killer right in front of them. There's a guy right here who wants to kill police and overthrow the government. But these guys are blind. They don't see it. I don't know why. I don't know why they can't see this terrorist here. There's a traitor. Right? This guy is an enemy of the United States. He wants to kill them, but they don't see it. That's weird. I don't. That's weird. This happened. That guy, this happened in Salem a couple nights ago. Some kids were writing chalk outside the police department in Salem. And this dude shows up with a shotgun. With a shotgun in the city, outside the police department, with police just over there watching everything. Look it, watch.
Which one have you covered? I know any of these ones. Well.
What? What? That guy just shot a live round in a city by the police department while cops are watching. I don't see it. Why isn't he dead? He's obviously holding a gun. It's obviously loaded. Why haven't the police shot him yet? Why haven't the police shot him yet? Why haven't the police shot him yet?
What the fuck are you doing here?
Why haven't the police shot him yet? Like, they shoot kids for maybe having a gun. Why haven't they shot this guy yet? You know what the difference is? You know what the difference is? This guy is a cop killer. He's an insurrectionist. The same guy as this guy, right? They're the same team. They're the same team. They're all the same team, right? Cops are okay with Nazis holding guns. Cops feel comfortable when Nazis hold guns because cops and Nazis are on the same team. Cops and Nazis are on the same team. Maybe not all the cops, but enough of them so that Nazis blend in with cops. Defund the police. Dude, I went for an hour. I can keep going. I got stuff for fucking days. It's like I was so angry. But I saw a meme. It was hilarious. Tell me something naughty. Tell me something naughty. if the wealth in the USA was divided equally, there would be $700,000 per family. No way. No way. No way. That's dirty. If their country's wealth were distributed equally, an average person would be X times wealthier. In America, if our wealth were distributed equally, everyone would be 6 times wealthier. The average person would be 6 times wealthier. So take whatever you have now and times it by 6. Okay. Now you go over here. This is even better. If global wealth were distributed equally, an average person would be X times wealthier. Let's see. Okay, so if all the wealth in USA were distributed equally, the average person would still increase their wealth by 2 in the United States. That's how bad we are. If we share with the whole world, the average person still increases their wealth by 2 times, doubles their wealth if we share with everyone. Punk, get out of here. That's incredible. That's how unequal we are. That's how bad it is in the United States. That's what I've been trying to tell you. That's how bad. If we share with the whole world, the average person in the US still comes out ahead. Billionaires are a failure. So I wanted to double check this, right? I'm like, let me see if that's true. So I said, so I checked that out, right? The financial position of the U.S. A net worth of at least $123.8 trillion as of 2014. Okay? The population of USA as of 2014 was about 318 million people. I did it twice to make sure. I rounded to 320 million. So I took $123.8 trillion, divided it by the number of people in 2014, and got this number. But wait a minute. That number is not the same as this number. They said $700,000, and you only got $380,000. But they said per family, right? So a minimum in per family is 2 people. So you take 2 adults who each have $350,000, and together they have more than $700,000 per family. This meme is good. This meme is good. It's tasty. This meme is delicious. This meme is scrumptious. Share it with everyone. It's so good. No. What do I got here? I got so much. Free reality winner. So you have to understand, how is it that us regular Americans even know about the Trump-Russia thing? Because you know, right? That came out. The Treasury Department confirmed that Donald Trump worked with the Russian government to overthrow the United States. Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, gave polling information to Konstantin Klimnik, who was an agent of the Russian government. He gave it to the Russian government to use against the American people in 2016 election. It's a fact. It's fact. But Paul Manafort is out of prison. Michael Flynn is out of prison. Michael Cohen is out of prison. Donald Trump is out of prison. The only person in prison is Reality Winner, who told us, she's the one who told the American people that Russia was attacking the United States. If it wasn't for Reality Winner, Obama wasn't going to say anything. They weren't going to say anything to us. They weren't going to say nothing until Reality Winner leaked information and told the American people that Russia was attacking the United States and helping the Republicans. The Republicans and the Russians were attacking the United States. It was because of Reality Winner, and she told the truth, and she's the only one still in prison. All the criminals, all the traitors are out of prison, and the only one still in prison is the only woman who told the truth. Like, America, if you worship liberty and justice, what the hell is this? What is this? This is a perversion of liberty and justice. This woman told the truth and warned everyone. And what do? You imprison her? You rob her of her liberty? Man, this government, I don't know. Jeff Merkley has a Facebook page, right? And on his Facebook page, this person named Scott Paget was recruiting for the Ku Klux Klan. I reported this, but I have yet to hear back from Facebook. Because, Facebook is a right-wing Nazi site, and they promote this kind of thing. So me reporting this doesn't go against Facebook community standards. Facebook promotes white supremacy. So even though I reported that comment, it's not going to get taken down. The insurrection on January 6th had a profound impact. Even though the insurrection didn't stop the election from being certified, and even though the insurrection didn't murder any members of Congress, the insurrection did manage to terrify the members of Congress. How do I know this? Because they are spending a ton of money on private security. You do not spend a ton of money on private security if you feel secure, if you're not afraid. But yeah, people are afraid because Nazis are out to kill them. The rise of domestic extremism in the United States. The yellow is violent far right, the gray is violent far left, and the light gray is other. And from this chart, you can see, geez, there's a ton of right-wing Nazi violence. There's a ton of violence. All this stuff over here, I don't buy it. I mean, like, Antifa is not violent. Antifa hasn't killed anyone. The surge reflects a growing threat from homegrown terrorists not seen in a quarter century, with right-wing extremist attacks and plots greatly eclipsing those from the far left and causing more deaths, the analysts show. The number of all domestic terrorism incidents in the data peaked in 2020. More than a quarter of right-wing incidents and just under half of the deaths in those incidents were caused by people who showed support for white supremacy or claimed to belong to groups espousing that ideology. Victims were blacks, Jews, immigrants, and LGBTQ individuals, Asians, and other people. So Nazis are on the rise in the United States, white supremacists. Oh, yeah. Left-wing attacks included multiple attempts by extremists to derail trains to hinder oil pipeline construction. And at least 7 incidences in which police and their facilities were targeted with guns, fire bombs, and graffitis. So, the burning of the Minneapolis is right-wing, right? So that's not a left wing. That the burning of the Minneapolis police precinct was that was a right wing. Let me double check that. Pretty sure. Let me double check. I'm almost certain that the Minneapolis police precinct burning was a Nazi who did that. And so you should not count that as a left wing. That's a right wing. The Nazis did that. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Dude, I kind of went nuts here on tweeting. So it makes it hard to find stuff, right? Here, Minneapolis. Here, in fact, why am I doing it this way? What I should do is close that, open that, go Minneapolis police. Yep. Far right-wing extremists shot at Minneapolis police precinct to spark violence. So this article, that article is incorrect. That New York Times article is incorrect. A lot of the violence at the protests were started by right-wing extremists. Boogaloo boy. Murder police. Oakland. Yep. So the George Floyd protest. No, that wasn't left wing. That's right wing. So yeah. So I don't know what they're talking about. In August, a supporter of President Donald Trump was shot dead in Portland, Oregon by a suspected gunman who was a self-described Antifa supporter. What? No, that's wrong. It was a self-defense. Yeah, so the self-defense was attributed to the far left violence. But that's wrong. So, in other words, New York Times person can't even get the left-wing violence right. There's no left-wing violence. It's all right-wing violence. It's all right-wing violence. Nazis are trying to rise in the United States. They're white supremacists. So, I mean, that's what I'm telling you to do, right? The solution is to defund the police. Because I've shown you, the police are a cancer. The police are sucking up all the money that would normally go into the community. The police are sucking up all the money that would normally go to all these community things. And if you strengthen the community, then you don't need the police. So it's a vicious cycle. The more money you take out of the community and give to the police, the worse things are. The more money the worse things get, the more money the police want. The more you take out of the community, the worse the community gets. It's a vicious cycle. In order to break the cycle, you cut the funding to the police and you put that money back into the community. It's real simple. The black community has been saying it over and over and over again, non-stop. I don't know what's so difficult about it. I think the thing that makes it so hard to understand is white supremacy. So if you have a problem with defund the police, check your white supremacy. All right, that'll do it for me for today. Pogokero out. Peace.